documentary late at night showing a Tamil Nadu village, but it's an American documentary. I do not know the exact source of it. And it conducted some, or it said so, that it did conduct DNA tests of the population of a small, tiny village there, and concluded that the DNA belongs to Africa. And thereby, this does, even, I don't even know the truth behind it, but even if it is there, I did not perceive a scientific agenda behind it. Instead, I kind of felt that this was also geared up at creating a difference between the north and the south of India, trying to show that genetically we are different people. So your comments on this, please.
Yeah, there is an appendix in the book that talks about the DNA evidence. We cover this issue. And if you are a member of the Breaking India e-group, which has now about 1,100 members, and I invite you to join that. Recently, I posted scientific articles. In fact, the scientific DNA evidence is just the other way around. The movement of people is firstly in both directions and very complex. So a wave of people come from Africa, go everywhere in the world. So in one sense, everybody is African. It's not just those guys. Even white American has got DNA of Africa because that's where man originated. Then, just to give you a quick version of this, this is National Geographic and some people have done this kind of project. People go into various directions. The ones that end up in India kind of have better survival because the climate is good. The routes, the trajectories that go to various parts of Europe and so on, they die out. And then India re-exports people outside, to Middle East, to Europe, to China, and then some of those guys hop off again to America, become the Native Americans. So at different points in time, there's migration in, and then there's migration out, and happening in both directions. So the hardware of DNA has mixed a lot of ways. When you say that an Indian community has similar DNA to an Arab community, it can be partly because Arabs came and intermarried and settled. It can also be Indians were taken as slaves into the Middle East. And when you find the Roma people, the Gypsy people in Eastern Europe who are of Indian origin, that's not because they invaded India and the Indians got their DNA, but they are Indians who migrated out as slaves. There's a book called Slavery Beyond the Hindus Beyond the Hindu Kush, a PhD dissertation from University of Michigan or Wisconsin, I can get you that. That guy is a Westerner. He went to the ex-Soviet archives in the Central Asian countries and found a whole lot of slave trade during Islamic period where Indian slaves were taken to Central Asia and sold off by type of job, the skill they had, and age and gender. There was a price list, and every year it would be bid up and down. So lakhs and lakhs of Indians were taken and turned into. So you'll find DNA. When DNA is similar, it doesn't mean that country A has invaded country B and brought the DNA. It could also mean that country B's people migrated out to country A and brought the DNA out. So similarity of DNA does not by itself tell you the direction of flow. Okay, that's important. Then separate from that is the issue of where a text originated, where a philosophy originated. People, since they're traveling in both directions throughout history, does not by itself tell you which was the direction of knowledge flow. That's separate through archaeological evidence and various other things which historians do. So some of these simplistic things that you'll see read in some left-wing Indian newspapers and some Western academic circles once in a while are not a comprehensive picture about this DNA business. It's a complex issue and we've addressed it and we put a whole appendix on that issue.
I guess you're doing this at a runway level, at the ground zero level. Do you have somebody at a 30,000 feet level that really can propagate this discourse? And maybe I'm giving you a bad example, or could be a good example. Somebody like a Subramaniam Swami who will really take this torch and kind of propagate this message which you're trying to portray.
That's your job.
Yeah.
Well, Subramanian Swami already has heard a lot of my talks. We've been on panels together, we know each other. He's already taken a lot of these ideas, like the idea of Hindu identity, I introduced in a few panels, and he's gone and talked about it. But you know, so obviously he'll do that. Yes, he will. I don't have any doubt he will do that for this book also, and he's read it and he wants to help introduce it and market it and so on. But I think you cannot pick one guy like that and expect a solution, because I think the problem is far greater than some one guy going and doing it. We need a large army of speakers. A lot of people I'd like to train to be public speakers and develop a simple PowerPoint presentation so a lot of people can go and give talks, because I cannot just go give talks. And when there's a large number of informed people, then action can come about. I would also like to have a 100-page version of this done. We need somebody to do it. It will take a while to get it done. Then I would like to have that translated into 10 languages. I would like a 10-page version that can be put in magazines, and that also to be translated into languages. I would like opinion leaders and public policy makers in the US to get a copy and have seminars in Washington, D.C. I would like the same in India, where the MPs and all these kind of people at the state level and central level should be given the book and educated to read it and have discussions on it. So there's a huge number of work to be done, and beyond any one person. Just it's not there's one magic guy who can solve the problem. We just need a lot of help.
Like this. The first one, I know some people who cannot read the book, no time, but they have a lot of money. How they can help you? Second one, some people have not a lot of time, only a small amount of time, web savvy, computer savvy, how they can help you. I mean, the third one you already said, answered about, army of people wanting to.
So those of you who have a checkbook with who can put a lot of zeros at the end, all you have to do is just write a check. So it's a very simple thing. But you could be specific in that. You could, for instance, buy 150 copies and give to every member of the India caucus in the US Congress. And there's 150 congressmen. And it's not a whole lot to get 150. But more important than buying the book and giving it is you write a nice cover letter on why this is an important book, and here are some summary points, and you want to read them read it. So many Indians are involved in politics, giving a lot of money here and there, and they do have some influence, they do have some clout, but they don't have a direction and a policy and a purpose which is concrete. They will say things like, be friends with India, but what does that mean in concrete terms? What do you want? Americans are very practical people, so you have to say, I want you to sign this bill and not sign that bill. That's the way you want. So this book gives you some very concrete things that such people can get involved in if they want to. You could also buy copies and give to libraries. Like this is a beautiful library, but it doesn't have this copy, so you can start right here. You can buy copies, give them away as gifts. So there's a lot of things that people who are willing to invest some money can do. We have projects which need funding because I always put a research team together. So I have 2 books a year to do, and we need funding because how many I can do and how fast I can do and the quality depends on what kind of resources we have, so we need that help. As far as people who don't have money but have some time and are able to work hard, I would say, if you open the book at random, start reading it, there'll be some example of something which is a standalone example has value. You don't have to read it from cover to cover. So people can take little bits out and make little blogs as excerpts about the book, little stories here and there, put them out, and then optimize the Google engines to pick up these things. So if somebody wants to search on US Commission on Religious Freedom, then why not our message about that be a top story? If someone wants to search on a particular individual that we've mentioned and covered their work, then why not that come up first? This is technical work that people can do. And in this way, I think there's a lot of projects that we can think about.
Rajiv, I'm going to take a chance here.
Good. That's you've got a mic.
Okay, it's working. Breaking India with the current political boundaries of what is defined as the 1947, post-47 India is one thing. But my humble opinion is it started at 632 Common Era when Arab armies invaded Herat and in eastern and crossed the Harirud River. They have been breaking India. One colonial power or another has been chopping off parts of the body and running away with it. And by the time we have a Pakistani population which believes in Arab ancestry, strongly working for Arab colonialism. So the latest colonial events that you're talking about is just a strong continuation. Have you thought about, rather than, people just simply forget about all these things, they think Jalalabad, Kabul is like very foreign and Malaysia population. People might also think about Kashmir in a few years if the trend continues. But my question is, have you thought about a radical reset option? I don't know how to explain it. In order to just keep give a shock and then reverse the trend, what would be that reset option or a shock option to reverse it?
Well, I think any civilization that wants to expand or even stop compressing, stop contracting, must have a very strong discourse control of itself. It must have a very strong sense of cohesive sense of history. In the United States, the most important thing they want to teach everybody is American history. Very important for everybody to know about American history at the popular level, at the academic level. China, they're controlling the whole history of who they are. France, they're doing it. This is the nation building. History is a very important strategic subject. Indians don't even have control over their own history in a positive sense. It's a negative history being taught on how we are a bunch of, bad people. That's basically what is being taught. And what is taught largely about Indian history is everything good came from somewhere. First, the Aryans came and brought Sanskrit. Then the Greeks came and brought philosophy. We learned philosophy from Greeks. Then the Muslims came and brought sitar, tabla, and chicken tikka. Then the British came, brought science and math and cricket and things like that. So now Americans should come and bring us human rights. So I call this the invasion theory of India. That history is a milestone of being invaded. So what I'm calling breaking up is portrayed as good things because every one of those helps us upgrade because we get from release X to X plus 1 each time we get invaded. This is the theory that we are being taught right now. And so we have to really rethink history and discourse of who we are and our identity before we even have a chance to survive, much less reset and go expanding. Any marketing sales force has a very strong sense of our products, our company, what is our USP, how we are better. That's what basic one-on-one sales training is. So missionaries and these expansionist civilizations have done this for thousands of years. They've figured out the discourse they need to get enthusiastic, their whole troops get going. We never had to do that. But today we can no longer say that we just sit and everything will be fine because as you pointed out, things are being chipped away every few decades.
What are we doing, what are a person like you doing to get the people in India getting excited about their issue? They should be the ones who should be more concerned than us